Hello.
Good afternoon, kind of morning, kind of.
Welcome to the Professionally Hot Podcast. This is our second episode, and just wanted to say thank you so much for all the love on our first one. I think both of us are just kind of very shocked that it actually got so much love. Not shocked, but like it is really nice to like see the numbers go up and just be like,
I'm a
wow.
little shocked. I'm
Yeah,
a little bit shocked.
yeah, it's a big deal, and yeah, we just thought that we would kind of explain. I'm going to kind of give the mic over to Ashley T so she can tell us all about camming, because I feel like our first episode was like very in depth about us, but like maybe we kind of forgot to mention what camming is.
Yeah, we just, it was an excellent start to everything because we left so many questions unanswered, and I think that just gives podcast episode 1 energy, like in a
Yeah.
great way. So if you were left confused at the end of the last episode, here is here's some answers to all of that confusion.
Yeah.
So where do I go, like, right back to the very beginning?
I think because you know so much stuff from the CAMGIRL survival guide that you should just like, I mean, first off, why don't you just start telling us what camming is and how it got started? Because I think you know these things. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
absolutely do know
give
these
us a
things.
deep dive into the CAMGIRL lifestyle.
Yeah. So here's an unnecessary history lesson that I guarantee you most of us don't know, but I'm a nerd, so I like this stuff. So I like to say that was often recognized as the very first cam girl, who is an individual that performs adult content, adult live streams specifically,
Mm-hmm.
uh, on the internet, right? We're a type of sex worker. We do live performances that are adult in nature. We're not just streamers
Yeah.
or content creators. We're cam girls. Um, and the industry of webcamming picked up in the mid to late 2000s, but it's kind of considered to have started off with someone who went by Jenny Cam.
Mm-hmm.
And she did something that was then called life casting, but um, it's kind of seen as the beginning of webcamming because she had a website called Jenny Cam.
Mm-hmm.
And it consisted of static shots or just photos from a live webcam stream, just of her living her life. It was very voyeuristic, and it wasn't sexual entirely. It wasn't 100% focused on sex, but it was so intimate. It just allowed people to watch her daily activities, just refreshed every couple of minutes. And sometimes she was making coffee. Sometimes she was having sex. Sometimes she was sitting in her room and crying. Sometimes she was
Oh.
masturbating. Yeah. And so it was definitely sort of like the first idea of, like, wow, I can use the internet
Yeah.
to look at this person's life, as it happens. And that ended up shutting down at the end of 2003. So this is old. Like,
Yeah.
this was a long time ago.
Yeah. That's
Now, it was active from 1996 to 2003.
that's wild.
I was like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then coincidentally, 1 year later, myfreecams.com launched. Sorry,
What year?
launched.
What year was that?
That was 2004.
Okay. Wow.
It still looks the same as it
Yeah.
did.
I think we should talk about that
Okay.
first one where like nothing has changed. Like the only thing that's changed is the fact that you don't have to do math anymore.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We'll explain all of this like so much more. But back in the day, I don't know if you used to get this. People kind of have more idea of, like, what an internet sex worker is, or like a content creator, OnlyFans girls. You kind of tell people that, and they
Yeah.
know, like,
No, it's
what that's
way
supposed
less
to mean.
taboo now.
Yeah, but back in the day when I did tell people, eventually I told friends or whatever, like, oh, I'm a cam girl. Most of the time they'd be like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what is that. And the only people who had any real idea, or they thought they might have some idea, were dudes that saw, like, the ads on the side of porn sites,
Right.
right? They're
Yeah.
like, hot local Kenzie is, like, live near you or whatever, right? Yeah, exactly. uh So the thing about webcam sites is they existed before my free cams, but they were almost exclusively pay to watch. So there was no way for you to see what was going on before you put your credit card information in to like view the stream.
Yeah.
Uh, and my free cams, which is where the bane of all of our existence
Yeah.
comes from, is the name of the site.
Yeah.
It was actually super revolutionary because it let people just watch,
Yeah.
like without they couldn't interact unless they made an account, but you could just watch.
Yeah. No, it's true.
um and that really is what kicked off the platform and what ended up like housing us
Hmm.
after that. Because of that, the popularity grew because of the ability to just kind of tune in without
Yeah.
having to pay for it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
for it to change so fast.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
already like, and like it's still the how it is today. Like you can still go on there and watch for free. You don't have to put in any credit card information. You don't have to put in any information. You just get to watch, and I think it's good and bad.
Oh
Like
yeah.
when you're doing really well and you have like tons of people in your room, it's like it's more fun and it doesn't feel so like obviously slow. But the minute that you have people and like tons of people in there and no one's tipping or talking, worst thing in the world. Like
That's pretty
literally,
soul crushing.
yeah, it's literally soul crushing. And yeah, it's honestly embarrassing. Like it's not
Oh
fun.
yeah.
So, like I would rather have a like it's always, quality over quantity for me. I would rather have like 20 people in my room as opposed to 100 if it means that like 10 of them are talking, and
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, it's crazy how much it's changed and how much it's not changed.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, in brainstorming for this episode, I was
Yeah.
like, how do I explain like what MFC is? If I say like OnlyFans looks like Instagram because it
Yeah.
is just a direct copy, that's what it looks like. If
Yeah.
OnlyFans looks like Instagram, then MFC looks like a mid 2000s piece of shit.
Yeah.
Um, it's yeah, it's blocky, it's green, it's cluttered, it's confusing, it barely
So
works half the time, and it's still a thriving website.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just goes to show what you can do with the power of hot girls.
So true. um yeah, I mean, is there more to the beginning of it, or is that like the gist of it? Like I know you said Jenny Cam and stuff, but was there anyone else that was in the industry at first? Because I know we had tons of forums and like not tons, but like a couple ones that like that was how you were able to like find information, because there was none. Like that was very much like you just kind of had to watch cam girls to get an idea of what to do. Like that's what I did at least.
Yeah.
And I know we kind of touched on the Amber Cutie forum in the last episode, but like as far as
Yeah.
that goes, like
Well, I mean, we are just gonna keep mentioning tumblr.com.
yeah,
Like we're just gonna keep talking
yeah,
about it because it was so massive. I mean, for what it was, and also for the connection between it and porn in general, but also to cam sites, right? Um, Actually, I am going to name drop here. The incredible Vex tape
hmm,
of Four Chambers. They just celebrated a massive milestone. I think they just celebrated 12 years
wow,
of existing. I know, wild.
of existing,
Yeah, yeah, they just celebrated 12th anniversary. I think it's
yeah,
definitely a decade, if not longer.
wow,
Vex is a very, very smart human being and very eloquently stated that Tumblr made sex a community experience.
yeah, 100%.
And I think Tumblr kind of made porn for the girlies,
Yo, yeah, 100%. You were,
right?
yeah. Please elaborate on what you messaged me the other day, because it's so true on talking about how like it was for the male gaze, but the girlies did it, so it changed the whole thing, because that was really important and true.
Yeah. Right? Like, don't you agree though? Because I
Yeah.
mean, especially as for both of us, like as bi girls
Hmm.
that realized our bi-ness in the mid to late 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely everything was for the boys, including like our whole existence and also our sexuality, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so we kind of like we developed our own likes and like sexual interests and stuff based off of the only information we really had, which was like geared toward dudes.
Yeah.
But we kind of made our own thing out of it. Like, yeah, sure, I'm sure that there were some guys that had like black and white aesthetic porn blog, but like that shit was
Yeah.
for the girls. That was for
Yeah.
us.
No, it was
You
100% for
know?
the girl. the soft
Like,
core shit. Like
yeah, like
it's what we want to
gifts
see.
were for the girls.
100%. Gifts are still for the girls.
They're still for the girls. Like, do I want to watch a whole porn? No, there's lots of stuff I don't want to see. Do I want to watch a 5-second gif of exactly what I want to see loop
Yes,
over and over again? Yeah, I do actually.
absolutely.
That's what I want to watch. Also,
Yeah.
if anybody listening right now tries to tell me that it's pronounced GIF,
Oh
I
no.
will I will never pronounce your own name properly for the rest.
It's Jif peanut butter and it's GIF for
GIF,
computer.
the
And
porn.
I
Okay.
hate when people say Jif. It's honestly, it's like
So
you
annoying.
don't know. You should get off the internet. You don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Kenzie and I made the internet, okay? We know
Yeah,
how it's
we
pronounced.
started this, and if you don't pronounce things right, you're canceled.
You are getting canceled, so don't say anything. But yeah, I mean, like the whole Tumblr girl era, especially our like porn blogs, our black and white porn aesthetic GIF blogs.
Hmm.
That was like 2009, 2010, especially 2011, up into like 2000 and whenever they kicked us off the platform for being
Yeah,
poor. Which is another topic for another time,
yeah,
traumatizing.
yeah. We should
Um,
do a full Tumblr episode because
oh,
there's so much to talk about.
I'm sorry, I thought this was Tumblr episode 2. Or is this not just, I thought this was a Tumblr podcast. Oh, whoops, sorry.
Yeah, all we do is talk about Tumblr.
Yeah. Oh, but it's so important. Like we, the girlies of Tumblr, we were embracing sexuality in a interesting way, and in some ways it was performative, but in some ways it was just like also fun for us, and that
Yeah.
just, I mean, the door was wide open to become.
Yeah.
That was like, wait, you mean that I can perform sexy for dudes while also feeling hot by myself because I already do that, and I can make money off of it? Done. Like,
Yeah, sign me up. I'm here for it.
yeah,
Yeah, like Tumblr is what OnlyFans is now. You just have to pay for it. Like it really
yeah,
is. You scroll and you send likes. I mean, Tumblr
yeah,
was notes and stuff, but like even getting like, I think that the difference with social media today is really interesting. Like when I'm on Twitter, if I get like over 100 likes on something, I'm like, ooh, that got a lot of like people to see it. On Instagram, if I don't get like over 1,000 likes, I'm like, I'm
no,
a failure.
yeah,
Like this is not looking good. But Tumblr, you had so many people and it was being shown to all different people. It wasn't like the people that had to follow you had, were
yeah,
the only people that saw that. And, I think it's very much like TikTok in the way that like you have this like for you page kind of deal where like if someone else reblogs something from another person's site, sometimes you'd go back and be like, I want to
yeah,
follow them because they originally posted it, or like
yeah,
people that made gifts, like the people that were watching porn and then we're making gifts out of it for us to enjoy. I love you guys. I don't know who
yeah,
you are, but I love you.
yeah. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like doing God's work, kind
Yeah.
of pirating, but like also thank you because
Yeah.
that formed my early experiences. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I had so many porn stars that like were following me on Tumblr that would ask if I wanted to do content and stuff, like male
Right.
porn stars. I
Yeah.
don't remember his last name, but his first name was Bruce, and he had like this is TMI, but he definitely had like a huge penis.
Oh,
It was like
are we
two
allowed to
different.
say, dude? I think we are allowed to say dick.
I know, but I'm being appropriate.
Okay.
Not that I
Penis.
like that, but I almost said PP too, so my brain is not any better.
That's market. That's agreeably, that's way worse.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
way worse.
But yeah, I mean, like he was the guy. It was like him and what was his name, James Dean. Was that it? It
Oh
was
God, yeah.
Goya,
Oh no.
Sasha, like all these
Yeah,
people that like really were the like Tumblr porn people that you would see in gifs all the time and stuff. So
yeah,
it was like, oh, I want to know who they are, and it kind of like, I mean, it opened the space at least for myself to see anything that had to do with cam, like. Because
yeah,
obviously I didn't go on there originally to like find cam stuff. I was just, I mean, my Tumblr was called Sex Me Up. Like I was already like,
yes,
let's do the sexual side of things. And then obviously with my ex and stuff, like we posted so much stuff on there that it just made it into this big giant thing that other people were also seeing and being like, I want to, like, how do I do that kind of stuff? And not just us, but there were so many people on the site that were posting, like you said, for the girls. Like
yeah,
it didn't, and even the guys that were posting on there were posting for the girls. Like,
yeah, yeah. Actually, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're absolutely right. My question to you actually is, I actually don't know the answer to this. Did you have a like porn, or at least like porn inclusive Tumblr before you started camming?
Yeah, my like the sex me up Tumblr was like I had changed it back and forth a few times between like stuff that I liked and stuff that was just like mainly sexual. Like I remember going
Mhm.
and like starting it out like just for me, and like, you know, like you'd go from reblogging pandas in a GIF to like hardcore porn. There was no middle one, and I think I remember being like, okay, I want it to be like just a sex blog, because I was starting to go into that area, and then eventually, like, you know, saw Brina online, all these people that were like, I mean, I remember seeing gifs of like Aspen Ray and Nikki Schuyler and like people that, you know, like were camming at the time, but I had no idea what it was. So yes, I definitely had the like sex blog, and then I went back to, you know, normal stuff, and then went back, and it was just like I didn't have a like a place that I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep it as this. It was just like what I was feeling at the time. But I never had any other Tumblr except for that one. Like, I think other people definitely had like multiple accounts where they were like, this is strictly a porn blog, it's my pride kind of thing. But yeah, I definitely was like, I want it to be sexual. And I started selling sex toys at one point. Like, there was an online shop where you could like get, you know, affiliate money from it and stuff anytime someone bought one, and it didn't work. Like, it was a horrible site and it could barely load and stuff, but I remember being like, I'm fucking cool because I'm selling sex toys online.
Yeah, that actually, that is really cool.
Yeah,
good for you. Era hustling. That's
yeah, and that was before I even knew what camming was. It was just because
yeah,
sex was so big on Tumblr. Like, and it wasn't like people, you know, like there were tons of people that were like doing actually dirty things, like dirty in a good way, you know, where like you had people sexting on and through Messenger, and like sent you'd be like, tell like what's your biggest turn, and I'll tell you if it turns me on, kind of thing. Like, it was a very like, you know, let's communicate kind of site. But
it was a
yeah,
community. Like, it was a community that it was a community
yeah,
experience.
100%. And
Absolutely.
I remember making really good friends with a lot of people on Tumblr. Like, I'm not friends
Yeah,
with
me
them
too.
anymore because I don't even have my Tumblr anymore. But I do remember, like, you know, you'd find actual people, and, you know, you talk to them. You'd find other ways to talk to them, and it was like, you know, anytime you posted, especially if you found accounts that had a lot of followers and they were
Yeah.
reposting you, like, you were set. You didn't have to do anything.
Oh
You didn't
yeah.
have to ask for a shout out, because there were so many guys that that had Tumblrs just to reblog girls. Like, and
Yeah.
that was wonderful. I honestly wish that Twitter was more like that, because like with actual followers on them, because obviously people will retweet you and stuff, but like having accounts that like just did that and weren't creepy about it, like didn't want anything from you, they were just like, yeah, I'll just reblog you because like I want a hot girl on my page. That was so nice. Like,
That was
really,
cool.
yeah, it made a huge difference for anyone that was trying to get popular on Tumblr. And like, I don't even think I went into it being like, I want to be popular on Tumblr. I was just like, I just like Tumblr, I just want to be on here all the time, and I was. um
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, there's so many things that went into Tumblr that definitely paved the way, I think, for both of us to
Yeah.
be where we're at now. And like, just, you know, thanks Tumblr, even though you guys kicked us off for being sex workers, but whatever.
And we'll definitely get to that point at some
Yeah.
at some point very soon, because what I'm about to say is like, for people that maybe weren't around for Tumblr, or they weren't like, you know, either you don't remember because you blacked out, for the
Yeah.
internet in like kind of like 2000, and I'd say like, I mean, as my experiences are like 2008, until now.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about like, oh, you didn't necessarily have to have like a specific page for specific things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't really using, like, the term algorithm was not like a thing at that point. It was just like Tumblr sort of kind of worked like that, I guess, but we weren't having to put things into these tiny little boxes
Right.
like we do now. And porn just existed on Tumblr. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
on one day, you're reblogging pictures of pandas because you're into that. And then, 8 hours later, you're horny and you're reblogging porn, or you're just reblogging porn because that's there. And you're like, I like this, like it at someone's Tumblr page gave you a really big view often of like what this person was about, right? Like an
That's
actual
true.
word that included sex. And now we can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have you can't include your sexual interests unless you're super careful about it,
Mm-hmm.
like literally anywhere.
Yeah. No.
Um and so I think it's really interesting that, like, if you don't use the word Tumblr and you're like, oh yeah, it was a little bit of everything. Like, sometimes it was porn, and sometimes it was just random stuff that I like, and the guys were there like because they just wanted to see a hot girl. I could also be describing MFC.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I was gonna say too, like the porn like sounds like it was just like hardcore or like just like, you know, normal porn, but like that ranged from anything from reblogging pictures of hot girls to like, you know, random texts and stuff that said something that was like sexual. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, you know, straight up gifs of, you know, people fucking. It was a lot more than that, and I think that that was like it was enough. Like I've never been a porn watcher. It's not something I've ever been interested in, but like
Oh, me neither.
yeah, like it's just not. I mean, besides the like HBO Showtime Max when I was like really young and would just
Oh
like
my God. Yep.
like those like soft core, but they weren't soft core. They were
Yes.
very
Oh my
intense, but like
God. The Red Shoe Diaries.
yes, yes,
Oh my God. Like if you fell asleep and then you woke up like hours later and the TV was still on and there were like
yeah.
people fucking on a pool table.
No,
Yeah.
literally. No, I remember like watching, like having friends come over. I was probably like 13 or 14, and I'd be like, "You guys want to watch porn?" And it wasn't like I was trying, like, it sounds very boy-minded to be like, "Let's watch titties" kind of thing. But it was like, this is so funny. And like, it's like they were like, I remember there was one that was like a fashion show and there was like drama. It wasn't just like, okay, they're fucking. It was like, there's so much more to it, which is probably why I enjoy TV so much because there's all of that now on regular TV.
There you
But
go. Yeah.
the late night was top tier, and
Yeah.
it was either that or like the George Lopez. We wake up in the morning and it's just like blaring TV. Like, it's not. It's a memory for sure.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I think that like the Tumblr side of things made all that stuff a lot easier to like you really knew what people liked and it wasn't
Yeah.
hard to guess. You just scroll through their page like five down and you were like, okay, so they're into this. And it was fun. Like it was
Yeah.
fun to be on that site, you know?
Yeah.
It was easy and I still remember like the day I signed up, honestly. I remember like reblogging stuff and being like, I like this. Like
Yep.
this
Oh my
is for
God.
me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
What about you? Did you have I know you had I remember your blog and stuff, but did you ever go to like a side of just having sexual stuff on it or were you just like aesthetic kind of like random reblogs of anything that was like slightly sexual?
no, it was kind of the same thing. There was a little bit of a mix of it was a mix of both.
Mhm.
There was some stuff that was more like erotic, I guess. Like, I would like go and find porn gifs in my own time.
Mhm.
But like stuff I would blog was definitely a little bit like much more softcore.
Yeah.
Uh, Welcome to who I am as a person. But yeah, just same, like just a mix of whatever what my mood was at that point,
Yeah.
whether it was aesthetic, like raunchy or whatever.
Mhm.
Kind of same deal as you. Just definitely like not as tilted toward sex itself.
Right.
Now that we've described, I mean, we've given a pretty good rundown of like what Tumblr was,
Mhm.
and maybe it's still the same, just minus the porn, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
Uh, but this also segues really well into describing at least what MFC was. I think what it probably still is, but definitely what it was when we first got into it. Because since people's idea, like I said, if I said I'm a cam girl and the only point of reference they had was often like porn site ads,
Mhm.
um, which really were ads for old school campsites,
Yeah.
those like tune in now or whatever, like that,
Yeah.
sort of the pre my free cams era. Um, but by the time I made it onto my free cams in 2013, and you as well,
Yeah.
um, MFC was a site where you could sign up. You just huck your personal ID, literally your photo ID, into
Mhm.
the random, like sketchy looking website.
Yeah, hope for the best.
Yeah, and hope for the best. And when you get, to their homepage, there's just a bunch of little icons, like you can kind of see. At that point, you couldn't like hold over the rooms either.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
that
click on
feature.
them.
So like you're on this main page, you see all these little like user icons, that are currently live streaming, and you just click around and see what you can find. And I think people would assume that it would be like, if it's, oh, there's porn on Tumblr, maybe it's all porn.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of MFC wasn't. Like
Yeah.
a campsite, there's no, for MFC, there's no schedule. You don't get a list of things you have to do that day from the site. Okay,
Mm.
you need to be topless for this amount of time, or you have to be naked when you don't have to do any of that, right?
No, you could literally finish a countdown and be like, I'm actually not gonna get naked.
Yeah. Or you could like log on to my free cams in your sweatpants and just sit there and talk. Doesn't mean you're going to make any money, right?
Yeah.
Like, definitely did things that we knew would hopefully make us some income.
Yeah.
But there were no rules, and anybody that spends more than, I'd say, an hour on a campsite, even if you're just kind of lurking around without an account, you'll see very quickly that it is very much the way we describe Tumblr, in
Yeah.
that you get a real person that's live streaming, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and they might be topless, they might be naked, they might be fully clothed. Sometimes, even if they are naked, they're sitting there like launching into some extremely personal story,
Yeah.
or they're naked and they're making a cup of coffee and like complaining
Yeah.
about thing, right? Like,
No, it's true. Or you have the actual sexual side where you had like girls doing crazy things. Like I remember going into like, I mean, first you would have girl shows where like, it was a
oh
bunch of like, make out things, or like, they were doing spanks or just like dancing or touching each other and like just having fun. Like it was always like about like, you were getting drunk and like like actually having a good time, and you'd make a shit ton of money if you have someone else with you. Like you
oh
really, but it was rare that you wouldn't, at least at the like when we first started,
hmm
how well it does now, because like I think with the community that like is on there or has been on there, everyone already knew. Like if me and
yeah,
you were to be like, we're gonna get on cam, we might not have that many people in our room, just because people already know us. Like
yeah,
they, like, and not to say that there wouldn't be a lot of people, but it's very different from how like you could have over 2,000 people in your room when we first started for having
yeah.
like another girl with you, and that's insane. Like not that everyone was tipping, but
But the
having
audience
2,000,
was
yeah,
there. Yeah.
it was a large audience. And then you had girls that were like, I remember do you remember the gif of Aspen
Yes,
Ray
I knew you were going
had
to talk about this. I
swing?
knew you were
Yeah,
going to
and
talk about this.
she had like a dildo in front of her, and she was just swinging on it. She was on a
Yep.
sex swing. She's swinging back and forth with the dildo going in and out of her, and that was insane. Like
That,
I
honestly,
remember,
I knew you were going to say that. That was, yeah, I saw some crazy shit. And that,
yeah,
I remember watching that being like, girl, that
yeah,
is, what is you doing? But like in the best way.
yeah, 100%. I was like, damn, like that is wild. Or
I
like
just
girls,
remember the absolutely feral expression on her face too. Like she was like,
yeah,
am I really doing this? Like
yeah.
it was hilarious.
But you kind of had to come up. I mean, I remember Austin White, like she was, everyone had their own kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
Austin White was like, kind of not full burlesque, but like
And
she listened to like Frank Sinatra, and she had like a swing, like a real swing in her room, and her room was beautiful. She had this
oh
beautiful
no.
home, and she would just sit on it, and like, beautiful corsets, and like that was her thing, like that
Yep.
was her niche, and she found it, and she went with it. Like,
Yep.
and she was beautiful and so nice, and like there's so many cam girls that were there in the beginning that I never had a chance to like get to know, because
Yep.
they were already on the site for so long. And like I think me and you were very popular on MFC, and like people know who we are. Like even when we went to ABN and stuff, like it'd be like, oh my god, like you're Ashley or you're Kenzie, and like that always is a nice feeling.
Dude,
But we get that feeling for the other girls. Like you
yeah.
got to make out with Aspen Ray, and that
Yeah.
is that
I'm
is
gonna
beautiful.
I'm gonna relive that on my deathbed.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah.
I just remember walking up to you at AVN, or I was walking in the like, we were at this private concert thing, and I'm like looking around for you, and all of a sudden I'm like, who's that girl making out with Aspen? And I'm like, that's fucking Ashley
Yeah.
T.
Yep.
And
I mean,
all these girls started like filming it, like it was a moment, and that was,
yeah,
you captured that for all the cam girls that had started after them and were like trying
to make
to,
it.
yeah, to like become, yeah, to be in their lives in some way, and like
Yeah.
you did it, babe.
Yep.
You did it.
But I'll take one for the team for that, because I feel like I walked away with that victory for all of us.
Yeah,
I took the W big time.
you
Um,
really did.
Also, we do have to. We've done that thing again where we've
Yeah,
dropped like a really interesting term that people probably have absolutely no idea about. Okay,
yeah.
okay. So get this. All right, My Free Cams exists as a thing. Okay, it
Mhm.
is a random site where hot girls can do pretty much anything they wanted, from a full range of making Kraft macaroni and dinner in underwear, which is me, to swinging from the rafter with a sex toy carefully positioned.
Yeah,
Okay.
so how she, I don't,
I
the
don't
math,
know, man. That's some physics right there. You want to say
really.
there are no women in STEM? We were in STEM.
So true.
Um, we had this beginning site happening, right?
Hmm.
MFC was, oh, also fun little history fact for you. My Free Cams was the largest live streaming website in I think, what, by 2000 and sometime like between 2010 and 2013, it was the largest
Yeah.
excuse me, the largest cam site, which means that it was actually the largest live streaming site on the internet, because live streaming didn't exist, right?
Right.
Like, we didn't have Instagram Live, we didn't have YouTube Live, that didn't exist.
Right.
Webcamming built live streaming. We were
Yeah.
the only live streamers, and everybody else followed suit after the fact, right?
Yeah.
And so this got really popular. We would, just to give the casual listener a rundown, you'd sign on. It was very common to put a countdown, which was a set amount of money. Usually we'd start I mean, it was kind of gold standard to start with 2,000 tokens, which
Yeah.
equates to $100 in our pocket.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and
5 cents for us, 5 cents for the website.
exactly, right. So, we'd make tokens, which is the form of currency on the site. And after that goal was met, regardless of how much you wanted to put there, you could be, $10, $100, whatever.
Hmm.
Once the community worked together, to tip, to go toward this countdown, you do something, and you could do literally anything.
Yeah.
And you could have set amounts of tokens for, a spank or a shot of alcohol, or, to literally a flash, to do, again, like absolutely anything.
Hmm.
And this little thing that we had decided, right? And the site didn't put that in there. We just came up with this.
Yeah.
Uh, this built this random crap ass looking website into the largest live streaming platform, and the largest adult platform, on the internet,
Hmm.
real fast. Because fast forward a couple of years later, and what was traditionally the porn only Oscars, essentially, it was
Yeah.
an event called the Adult Video Network Awards, held in Las Vegas. uh Cam girls and cam sites, I mean, what was the first year you went to the AVNs?
I think 2017, maybe 2018. And I don't even think, like, I think, me and you hung out a couple times during that time, but like we weren't, like, it wasn't. Yeah, I think it was like 2017, I want to
Yeah,
say.
I think it was the same for me. And if you remember, so there's like a convention, by the way, for the audience. There was
Yeah,
a
RIP Hard Rock Hotel.
I know, RP, so
Yeah.
many memories in this
Yeah,
show. That wasn't shitty, it was great.
it
Uh,
was.
there would be a convention. It was 3 days long, and like any other, anime convention, Twitch convention, YouTube convention, whatever, there were all the different websites there. So you'd
Hmm.
have Brazzers, Bangbo Bros, Pornhub,
Yeah, Chatterbait, like all
chat.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's other campsites as well, that we don't talk about. I mean, I just don't have any experience. I never,
Yeah, no,
you
same. I never went on another site either, so it's
you know,
not
but
really
there's
expert.
like other really successful ones as well. But
Yeah.
MFC definitely for a long time was the biggest. I don't know if it probably still is.
Well, I mean, and the fact that like MFC is a huge contributor to the AVN Awards is, I think, a perfect
Well,
example
yeah,
of how
and
big they are. Like,
yeah, I
it's
don't know.
always been sponsored by MFC,
Well,
so
but it hasn't. That's the thing. When
really.
we started, no, when the first year that I went to AVN, the convention, I think it would have been right around the same time, 2017, 2018.
Hmm.
And MFC had a booth, right? We had one booth, in the hallway, but the main area, it was all traditional porn companies. Like,
Hmm.
Pornhub also had their own thing, but it was like, your professional porn, agencies, or companies, producers, whatever. Fast forward even just 3 years, and MFC hosted the
Yeah.
AVN.
Yeah.
Like, cam girls, we were just a footnote, and we weren't particularly well received at the beginning either. The traditional porn, at least at the very beginning,
Yeah.
when he started to roll through, cam girls were kind of, we weren't really seen as like a part of the crew, you know.
No, very different. And
We didn't go through the same experiences. I know for sure that, the traditional, porn girlies went through. And because there was no, like, anybody can be a cam girl. You don't have to submit a photo with your application. You're not being scrutinized.
right.
Literally, as long as you're age verified, can, like, just hop on MFC. And I think, we brought a new level of trash in with us,
100%.
in a romantic way. But but at this point in time, we were on the map, and then fast forward a couple of years later, and we were the map.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
So things changed really fast. Like MFC went from being kind of not really humble, but its own little thing, to being massive.
Yeah.
And we, CAMGIRLs, you and I went from, 2013. What, I didn't have an actual webcam to cam with.
Just use your computer.
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Like, I used an IKEA lamp on its side on my bed.
Yeah.
I didn't have a mic.
Yeah.
I used my crappy MacBook Air mic.
Mm-hmm.
And I also didn't have a webcam. I used my built-in webcam. And that was what I had to work with for like a year and a half.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was in the same place where like it wasn't like until I got that, like I should have like a better laptop, but I don't even think I
Yeah.
got a webcam or anything until like that was like a thing where like you wanted a better stream than like to actually be able to see us.
And I mean, stream again. We touched on this very shortly or very briefly in the first episode, but it was Flash Player.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was Flash. It was crappy, like 1080p whomst. This was
Yeah.
on a good day. Okay.
Yeah.
On a good day. And I didn't have the money to buy a new webcam because I spent it all on my dining room table.
As you should.
As you do. But it was crappy. It was grimy. It was grainy. It was low rel. Our content, which like we didn't even call it that.
No.
At that point in time, it was just videos and then photo sets.
Yeah.
I shot everything on the photo booth app.
Yeah, I don't even think I had any content until like 2018, like where I was like, okay, I should make some like videos, because I think MFC Share, which is like the same thing as like ManyVids or any of the sites that like just sell videos. Now they have a whole site like it's connected to MFC, but people can buy videos through MFC, and
I remember when that launched because before that we used Dropbox.
Yes.
Right. Like, this is how absolutely bonkers things were. They gave us nothing to work with and receive a paycheck, of which they took 50% of, by the way.
Yeah, it wasn't
for anybody listening.
Yeah.
They take so if somebody spends $100 on Kenzie gets to take home 50% of that. You get $50.
Yeah.
And you also have to pay tax on that. So like,
yeah,
you get like $30.
Yeah, and then you have to add taxes into that.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so we would eventually, many years into it, people wanted to purchase, photo sets or videos. You could sell albums. Anyway, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But we did all of this ourselves, right? Like, if people wanted to have a video of us, we would shoot it and then host it on Dropbox and like send people links manually to things. We did everything on our own.
Yeah, we had to figure it out. There was no, I mean, like, once people started asking for it, you're like, okay, well, I have to do this. Like, I'm ready to take that like next step into some unknown territory once again. And that is the adapting that we were talking about in the first episode, where you just kind of had to like, you had to figure it out. Like, when girls ask me today, how do I like, how can I get started? It's like, just go watch them, because that's the best way you can learn. And you can't just take what they're doing and do it yourself. You have to just like get the basics down and then be your own person on there, because no one wants to see someone else that's doing the exact same thing as someone else like that, unless they would just go watch them. You got to
just take it and that's what we did. It was trial by fire. Like, we learned just by crashing around, taking some general framework from other people, like the countdown, like the tip list, and then just like trying trying anything to see if it would work. And it was a crazy time, a very, very crazy time. I think it's important also to mention that we kind of talked about this earlier, like a cam girl did adult live streams, right? We did cam shows. The term content creator is so new.
Yeah, it's so true, because there's so many types of content creators now. It's not just when it comes to like OnlyFans stuff. Like, there's so many different types. So we really have that.
We didn't have that term. We weren't content creators. Like, OnlyFans girls, they might also do live streams. They might also be cam girls. They make videos, they make photo sets, they make, whatever else. We, especially for the first few years, primarily did live streams.
Yeah.
We might maybe make like one video a month when that became more of a thing, and 2-3 years down the line.
Yeah.
And oh my god, okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's talk about Miss My Free Cams. Let's talk about
Oh
the
yeah.
top 100, top 50, top 10. Oh my god.
I'll let you go for it because you.
Bruh.
It's
Bruh. Did you ever, okay, before I jump into fucking anything else, I'm gonna get carried away here.
yeah.
Welcome to a podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to our brains.
Yeah. Did
We
you
don't plan anything out for these. We literally are like, what should we talk about? And then we're like, okay, let's go.
Oh, we just let the
No.
soup go. We
Yeah,
just
because that's how our FaceTimes are. We were like, we should just make a fucking podcast because we already do this. So
Yeah.
you guys you're so welcome.
Yeah, and I'm also so sorry.
Yeah.
So MFC had a ranking system. Man, this is like those lists of like hot or not, or like
Yeah, that's
whatever.
what
Like this is
it is.
so part of it. So on MFC, you were ranked, for better or for worse, the second that you made even one token.
Yeah.
And it was on a monthly schedule. So at the beginning of every month, everybody started at NA, and then as soon as you made even 5 cents, one token,
Mhm.
you were slotted in competition with every other girl on the site.
Yep.
And the highest earning individual would make number one.
Mhm.
And they'd receive some like, okay, I want to say stupid little prize, but some people that worked really hard for those piece of shit little bubblegum necklaces,
Yeah.
like they really care about them. So I'm not going to make fun of
Yeah,
your
it's
piece
not
of shit
it's
little
not
bubblegum
stupid for the
necklace. Okay.
yeah, it's not stupid for the person receiving them. It's I think it's stupid on the side of that's what they get. Like
Yeah.
it should
They
have
should
been
have bought you a car.
yeah, because you're making so much money for the site by getting tipped because anything that you're getting tipped, the site is making just as much on
Yeah.
their site. So yeah, and like you have to remember too that these people that were buying tokens were spending more money on the tokens because of the split. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I think about like I'm gonna ask you too, but my highest tip was 30,000 tokens, and that's $1,500 for me. But the site, obviously, the person that's buying those tokens, they're spending what, like upwards of like almost 2,500.
Yep.
And like that's insane. Like that's insane to be like, well, I know I want to give this to this person, but like I guess the site will also be able to take this much too, which is just like it's insane. So yes, they should have received a car and not just a banner on the site. And like that's not any hate to the people that created
Not
it.
at all. Like good on you, man.
Yeah.
But
Like it's just it should have been more. And obviously at the time, like how would we ever have asked for that? Like
yeah.
Not fair. But
Yeah.
yes.
So
please.
my free cams, if you're not giving them cars in the year of our Lord and Savior 2023, what are you doing?
Are you
Like, come on. So the top 100, their names were listed at the end of every month, as of midnight, at the end of the month, all those names were listed, and it was a big deal. It was a
bonus, right? They have a bonus on there. I think if you
yes,
get one, you get $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember what they are anymore. You'd get a small amount of money, small whatever, like ranging from, I think if you were number 100, you get like $100 on top of what you already made, and then all the way down to, I think there was $1,000 prize for whoever won number one, if I remember correctly. I don't. It's been a few years.
Do you remember how much you like? I don't remember because I think you were gonna ask me like what my highest rank was, which was like 437. Like I never ever trying to like, I mean, like I've tried to get top 500 and stuff, but like I didn't really care as much to like be in any category. I mean, like, yes, it would be fun, but like I wasn't ever pushing myself to be in a place of getting like top 100 and stuff. But I know that you have climbed the ranks multiple times. I mean, you spent a whole year getting top 500. So
my highest rank ever was number 44.
That's really impressive. It's really hard. It's not easy to get that. You have to be online for so long. You have to have people consistently tipping. You have to be a consistent entertainer, and it's draining. Like, doing 24-hour streams and like just to be there, because the minute that you're offline, someone else is going to be higher than you. Like they're going to take your spot, and you're not like actively competing with other girls. You're competing with people that are buying tokens. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that, and that's why girls can be so, like protective of who's in their rooms and, who's their members and stuff, because they don't want to lose them, especially if
that's your bag.
Yeah. So it makes sense. So you're number 4, you said?
And number 44. Yeah, this was forever and a half ago. I feel
That's
like this
still
was another lifetime ago.
it was way harder in the beginning to get it, in my opinion. So like
Hmm.
it's very impressive, and like
Well,
a lot
thank
of
you.
work put in. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I agree.
Yeah.
It was a time. It was a grind for sure. What I remember so clearly, when we were first starting 2013, 2014, and then I remember the time in 2015 when everything changed. But doing a rank run was something that you advertised pretty heavily for sometimes a couple months in
Yeah.
advance. You'd prepare yourself and you try to come up with, themed performances, games nights.
Yeah.
You try to prepare a bunch of content beforehand, or you just make people a bunch of promises that you never ended up keeping.
Or like gifts, and
Um,
not gifts, but gifts with a
Gifts.
T. Like, yes, I will send you stuff because you did.
Exactly, right? Like you'd put in all this time and energy and if people were going for number 1, you'd kind of like set that aside and
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Um and the top 10, for example, I remember how much those names changed month to month because in the beginning it was quite common for someone to go for rank like once a year,
Yeah.
maybe once every couple months, but
Well, it was
the
draining.
expectation.
So, like doing it
Yeah.
that often
Yeah.
would be insane. And like, yeah, the
Yeah.
money was crazy because girls were
Yeah.
making $200,000 plus sometimes when they were, in that top
Yeah.
10, whatever. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
so like doing it once a year was enough.
Just to lift the veil a bit, nobody's really surprised at these numbers like they maybe would have been, 5,
Mhm.
6, 7 years ago. But um, the number one spot in 2013, it would have been September or October 2013.
Mhm.
The number one girl took home $30,000 US within a 1 month. She won $30,000 or got it from her tippers.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2018, and the number one spot was $200,000.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But it wasn't just that the money increased, right? It was the time happened.
Yeah.
Like the time constraints, the amount of time you put in happened. And prior to, the winter of 2015, I remember this so clearly because everything leading up to that, it was normal, for you to cam like probably 3, 4 times a week, especially weekends. Weekends were super busy.
Yeah.
Some people were on more, some people were on less. And if you were doing a rank run, you were kind of expected to be there most days of the week for the entire month, sort of thing.
Hmm.
But there was one individual who I will not name by name, that rolled up in her first month. And from the very beginning, she was on almost all day, every day.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
just showed up and was like, I have nothing better to do. I'd rather just stay here.
Yeah.
And that changed things so fast because she got number one her first month.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It was super unheard of to be able to pull something like that off without a previously established base or even, advertising, getting some word in that you were going to go for this. That didn't
Yeah.
really happen. And when that shift happened, it affected absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
Like we went from having to stream, or being expected kind of to be there 3, 4 days a week, to being there 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Yep.
And if you were going to go for number one, there was no way you were taking a day off.
No.
Even top 100, there's no way you're taking a day off.
No, you literally could not because
No.
your spot would be like immediately taken, and it was
Yeah.
really hard to climb back up. Like
Yeah.
and last half of the month 10 times harder than doing it in the first half. Like
Yep.
you had such a easier spot to be like because people had money. Like you
Yeah.
obviously everyone can understand going through the month and being like, well, I'm on my last dollar. Like there's a member on cam now that like sometimes will be like, sorry, I'm literally eating bread and
Yeah.
water because I
Yeah.
have no, and it's like, yeah, that's very
Yeah.
realistic for everyone, even if you're
Yeah.
not token. So yeah, it makes sense that, you could not afford, at all to take any time off. You had
No.
to be there. And
And the
yeah.
expectation for your tippers, I feel like we could do an entire episode just off of what it means to be a member, like what it was, who our members were and who they are, right? Like, these are not like super, not often, they're not all whales, they're not all like super wealthy.
No.
But the sort of budget that people might have assumed to have had prior to 2015 changed a lot. because the amount of attention you'd get, the amount of thanks you'd get, you know, sort of like your idea of what a good tip was, that changed a lot for an individual. And they started making bigger and bigger financial sacrifices just to stay relevant often in people's chat rooms.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Like there's tons you could see the falling outs when someone wasn't able to continuously tip the same way, or you know, give the cam model what they needed and stuff, which is totally fair on both sides, because you have someone trying to make a living and you have someone trying to keep their living. It's
and then, you know, we gave it a little bit more time, and then you had girls making alternate accounts to follow their tippers as they went into other rooms and like spy on them and see how much they were giving to other models, and then like freaking out on them if they were tipping other people more than they were tipping them. And then you had members making like side secret accounts. Yeah, like I remember one of my like good friends and members revealing himself to me. Absolutely no pun intended. I hope not. I'm sorry. You know, this is an old friend named Mex, and I'm really glad I never saw it. That's gross. Sorry. Anyway, he's my friend. Okay.
Yeah.
He had an alternate account and was like, hey, like, you know, sent me a private message and was like, oh, by the way, this is like so and so. I just, you know, I don't want this other person to know that I'm in here.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the late stage my free cams is happening? Like, this was supposed to be fun.
Well, and on the other side of that, like I loved sharing members, like having people that knew both of us, and like we were able to cam together, and we could, you know, have one room where like, and you got to meet new people, and like it was, you know, it was the community sense that like I really appreciated, and like I don't have anything bad to say about the girls that, you know, wanted to keep their members, because I understand that, like, you know, just like your mind kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I also just could never relate to it in the way of actually doing it, because I didn't care enough. Like I don't know if it was just like, who am I to tell this person that's giving me their money to not go and tip other people? Like if anything, I was like, go tip my friends, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and don't you love this? Once again, I love how we're having this conversation by the pool that we have in our mansion that we made from all of the money that we made from making these lovely emotional and moral decisions. Don't you love that?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I know I said I was going to quit, but I'm actually going to not, and I'm just going to keep all of my members.
We're just going to go full toxic. Yeah, great.
But unfortunately, that's what made money. They wanted, like, a lot of people liked the drama, and they wanted to see cam girls kind of have this like actual competitiveness. And so I was camming with a girl who was very popular. She was trying to get #1, and I think I spent 4 days with her. I made $4,000, which was amazing.
Oh my God, I remember this.
Yeah, and this was probably 2017, I think. Yeah, and I was exhausted after 4 days. That's all I have to say, is that I was so fucking tired, and I was like, I will never try and go for top 100 because I can't do this. Like, it was very fun, and luckily I only had to do it for 4 days, but like the amount of effort and work and time that she put into it was very impressive and draining to be in the situation and draining to watch, just because I was like, I don't know how you're doing this. Like, you know, like just being on cam that long, like I think that nowadays I don't have a patience for it, you know? Like I love the MFC community that I have, and I think that like there's so many good things that have come out of it, but I really give props to the girls that could stay on that long, because I think my longest stream was like 13 hours. I was so exhausted. I don't think I cammed for like a week after that, because I was just like, I'm so mentally drained, and physically, like it's a lot on your body, it's a lot on your mental health. Like, you know, you're sitting there, and the thing is you're not just sitting there watching a chat, you're sitting there watching yourself on a constant basis. You're
naked,
just looking at yourself.
Naked.
Like, and it's just like you have your brain is just probably consistently nitpicking at everything that you are, because you're just looking at yourself. It'd be like looking in the mirror for 13 hours a day. Like that, no one wants to do that, you know?
No, and we did it for 10 years.
Yeah.
I you know, what on earth did we do, dude?
I don't know.
How are we still alive?
I question that every single day, especially being in my last month. Like I'm I have posted this on other places, but this is my last month on MFC.
I know. Go make a yellow wall all over Kenzie.
And I've just decided that I told myself when I first started that I didn't want to be camming after 30, and that's no like hate to anyone that is still camming. I think if you can still do it, then good on you. But I'm just at a place where I just can't. Like I don't have the motivation. It's not as good as it used to be. You know, I make a decent amount of money, but not enough to like have it be a main support system. And I would rather kind of take the cam girl movement that everyone's starting to do, where you see all these girls going over to Twitch and like,
yeah, baby, come
so
join
much
me.
better. Like you don't have to be consistently sexualized and sexualize yourself, and you know, like it's just a very different platform. But we've learned so much from MFC that going over to Twitch is not hard the way that it would have been if you were like, well, MFC is not working now, I need to go to Chatterbait. Like
yeah,
very different
exactly.
spectrum. And
yeah,
Twitch should be thanking cam girls because
they do. Yeah, they do.
There's so many on there, and like, and even you just like starting, you know, I think like, I mean, you were one of the first cam girls that I saw go on to Twitch, and now I see them every day going on to Twitch. So
join me.
Yeah.
Join me, my slutty sisters. Yeah.
No, it's so true. I don't think you answered what your highest tip was.
Oh yeah, I can definitely remember this because it would be super rude of me to have forgotten what that was. Well, let's say that it was definitely over 30,000, but under. Oh, it was 44444.
I love that.
It was 44444.
Yeah.
And which was like wild. I didn't have that kind of actually, you know what? I'm gonna pop off here. I think because what I have to say is about to segue nicely into sort of I guess kind of the end of this episode, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes, segue.
Yeah. I'm gonna hop on my segue. Come with me on my on my segue.
Beep beep, motherfuckers.
Yeah, beep beep, let's go. So just to kind of sum us up, we've gone from like the beginning of our time on MFC, which was close to the beginning of the heyday, the early heyday, the rise of MFC. By the time you and I were homies, my final AVN, my final like big convention, my free cams was the shit. It was the person that was, you know, they were the site that was hosting this massive, you know, red carpet event that was happening for the porn Oscars, for the Adult Video Network. And we were VIP.
Yeah.
We were, you know, we got to go for free. We got to like pretty much stay for free. We drank for free. We got to see Lil Wayne in a private concert that was just for MFC girls.
Yeah, we got Lil Wayne, Cardi B, Kehlani,
Doja
Flo
Cat.
Rida. Yeah, Doja Cat, Flo Rida.
Okay, sorry, Flo Rida, you win. You're actually the biggest name on that list.
that was I think that was 2018. I think you went a year before me. So you had like the non-experience of not having MFC be the biggest supporter.
Yes, but there we go.
The first year that I went, I remember there's a big giant, you know, theater auditorium room thing that like the awards are hosted in. And I remember going, my dress broke, my heels were fucking killing me, and all they had for us were a couple fucking bar stools, and then the rest of the girls were sitting on the ground.
On the floor.
And I remember Leo is the owner. He's always at the convention and stuff. So you do see him around, you get to party with him and stuff. And
you get to bully him, which is what we all went there to do.
And that's what I did. I literally remember bitching at him and being like, why don't we all have seats? Like, we make this site so much money and you don't have seats. And then the next year we went, we all had separate little rooms. We could go in with our friends. Yeah. And that was all I could ask for. Like, really, because it was like, you're not respecting us. And like, we're here dressed up. We shouldn't have to sit in our nice dresses on the fucking floor. Like,
in a grumpy Vegas hotel.
Because he was like, I think he was afraid of me, which he should be.
He should be. Like, I hope he's still afraid of you.
I do too. But yeah, I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I remember just like having a moment and being like, you need to make sure that we have seats. And the next year I was like, this is exactly what we should have. And we did. And we deserved it. Like,
we did.
They gave us a nice big spot for us cam girls to sit in and be like, we're cool. Like, we make this site a lot of money. We are here because MFC is putting it on, so give us the space to like be here and be important for those moments, you know.
And it was big and shiny, and it, you know, it was built on our butt cracks. Like, it was built on our backs, right? And so I kind of, my last 2 years of camming, which would have been all of 2018, all of 2019.
Yeah.
I spent those 2 years every single month. I was in the top 250.
Yeah.
You know, so I was making, what was it, like a minimum of like 150,000 tokens a month, I think.
Mhm.
A minimum. I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly, but because the numbers changed, right? Like what number 250 was, in 2018 was different than where it was in 2019. But
Right.
for me, what this meant was 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, I would go on cam at 7 a.m. I would
Mm-hmm.
have my coffee, I would do my makeup, and I would talk. I might do some spanks, as I got ready to go to university because I was
Yeah.
a full-time student.
Yeah.
But I'd cam in the morning for 3 hours, around 2 or 3 hours, and then I'd go to school. I studied like crazy because I was also a fucking straight A student. This is not,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tooting my horn slightly, but I just want to let everybody know how bonkers things were at this point.
Yeah.
Standard trope of I was a sex worker putting myself through school.
Yeah.
And I also had a job at the university. So I would work after my classes ended at 4 p.m. And I
Right. You were.
also volunteered at the university.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
You
was
were doing
running
a lot,
labs.
babe.
And then I would come home, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes I'd throw in a Wednesday, I was also camming at night.
Yeah.
And so I had a 7-day work week. I had no time off. And at this point for MFC, we were making videos, maybe
Mm-hmm.
like 2 or 3 a month, but we were still making content. I don't know when I found the time to do that.
Yeah.
And just to
I don't
balance,
either.
yeah, just to
I don't
balance
find
real
found
life. Yeah, just to balance real life and cam at the same time was next to impossible.
Yeah.
And the month that I made my highest ranking month ever, that top 50 month, was also, and like, this is no shade to everybody that was so lovely and supported me for that time, but it
Yeah.
was also the month that I was the most miserable. I was really lonely. My husband now, my boyfriend at the time, was on a trip to Europe, and I was really bored and really sad, and I spent all my time on cam. And that was the one time that I made the most money, was when I was kind of like, I had nothing else going for me. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's true for everybody. But
No, but it's very realistic that if you were going to be that like ranking wise high on MFC, that you kind of had to put your life aside. Like,
you have to eat, sleep, breathe, right?
yeah.
Like, you can only really be doing one thing.
Yeah.
And I retired in December of 2019. I retired from MFC
Mm-hmm.
because something new had started.
Yes.
Something new had really come into the sphere of cam girls kind of summer of 2019, and then it grew very quickly in popularity over the fall.
Yeah. And
um
I think that really does lead us into our next episode where we just talk about OnlyFans in general,
yep,
because I think it saved a lot of girls. It
yep,
saved a lot of people from having to, you know, do any, because I mean, COVID hit, like what you
yep,
could leave the house. So like
yep.
obviously there was a huge, rush of people trying to be on OnlyFans, but the cam girls that were on MFC had the upper hand because we were already like, well, we already have content. Like,
We had content, we had
yeah.
the business know-how, and we were burnt the fuck out.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. I remember
Like,
when Leo messaged me, who, by the way, you're welcome for building you a campsite, because he bought OnlyFans. Cool.
yeah.
And now he makes like $10 million a month or something. Good
Yeah.
for you. Can I have the other 50% of my paychecks back, please?
Yeah, please.
Pretty sure you could slide those under
I'm
and like not even
begging
notice.
you.
Yeah. But he messaged me. This would have been in May of 2019, and was like, hey, I just purchased like a large part of this site that had been around for a couple years, prior to that. And he was like, it's kind of just like Instagram, like you can just post a couple pictures here and there. You should probably join.
Yeah.
And in years previous, I never had any other sites. I didn't use ManyVids. I didn't use, Clips for Sale, any of those.
Yeah.
But at this point, I was like, you know what? I'm so tired, and I don't know how long I can keep going with cam. Like, everything is too hard now. I just can't keep doing things like this. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And it was, compared to what camming was like time wise,
Yeah.
OnlyFans was a fraction of that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just
Yeah.
a tiny amount of time, comparatively speaking.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it started to make me enough money, doing a quarter of the work, but
Yeah.
it was starting to pay me as much as a whole month worth of MFC was paying me. And I was like, all right, like this is it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a huge lifesaver. And like I said, especially during COVID and not
Yeah.
having to, be online where like I think a lot of people were depressed and like,
Oh yeah.
How would you even the idea of having to log on when you're in that state. I mean, I was living with my parents at the time, like, right
Yeah.
after COVID hit and stuff. So like I couldn't cam at my
No.
parents' house. Like that was not something I wanted to do, but I could take pictures and I could make videos, and yeah, to like have a site that, I could still work on and was still making money, like good
Yeah.
money. So
Yeah.
yeah, a huge difference. Not too far away from the start of how my free cam started,
Yeah.
but very like, obviously you have so many different people on there now and
Yeah.
it's a completely different, like once again started off the back of sex workers and changed the vibes for it, and that's fine, no big deal.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
yeah, but we definitely had the upper hand when it came to having a new. It was like, well, the one time where adapting was actually so much easier because you were like, oh, I get to do less and
Yeah.
make more.
Yeah.
Like
And it
that's
was like, oh
beautiful.
my God, I can spend an hour of my day taking photos where I'm posing and then I can edit the shit out of them after,
Yeah,
versus like I have to sit here and constantly like contort my body to look as I mean, girl, the lower back pain that I
dude, I
have
still
now,
have it. Yeah,
I'm filing for physical suffering,
yeah,
myfreetimes.com. It just everything changed
yeah,
almost overnight. And for all of that to have happened, right before COVID.
yeah.
It's fucking wild.
No, it is. Well, I think that's where we should end today.
Me
Because
too. Wow. We can
we
pop
were
off my segue. That was perfect.
we were gonna make this episode like 30 to 45 minutes, but we can't stop talking. So if,
Yeah,
if
this
the
is not a
couple,
short. This is
yeah,
yeah, no, this is not a short time requirement. You're now all in it. I'm
yeah.
welcome to this. You get to spend an hour a week listening to us gab on.
And we already have our third episode recorded, but we do say in the beginning of the episode that it's the second episode, but it's not because we wanted to be able to have this like place to actually explain what camming is.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
we
know if we
forgot.
actually, yeah, I don't know if we actually did that in this episode at all. I don't know if we even talked
No, you know what
about.
I think we did? I think we did it. I think we did a good job. I think we did.
Yeah, I think that like we'll have more episodes in the future that are kind of going over OnlyFans and maybe like an MFC part two for how different it is now compared to what it was and stuff. But we'll be continuously talking about Tumblr because it's just such a big
Yeah,
part.
seriously.
But yeah, we have more episodes coming out. Ashley T is going to be traveling soon, so we have an episode coming out this Saturday, which you're listening to right now. Welcome.
Zoom zoom.
But also next Saturday we'll have another one out, which is our a very funny episode, which is just us talking. We have a special guest, Miss Ash Gray,
Oh,
and
you're gonna love this.
yeah, and it's just us talking about the weird things that we've been asked to do on cam because we all have those experiences, and we have other
Yeah.
people that chimed in and told us what they've been asked. So just get ready for that one
Oh,
because it's
fan favorite. You're
funny.
about to hear
Yeah.
some weird stuff.
Yeah, and I think that we will end up continuing on that weird train for a while because there's so many
Absolutely.
parts to talk about when it comes to camming and like how it worked. I mean, we still need to do our mail going to the to the UPS
Oh my God.
because there's so many
Yep.
things that go into that were so difficult to do still to this day. Like I've
Yep.
not been to the fucking post office,
Oh my
but
God. The
it's
trauma.
just
All
yeah,
cam girls listening to this right now, if you say post office, they're like,
yeah, yeah, immediate, just like sick.
oh shit. Yeah. Somebody out there is like, oh fuck, I forgot to send that thing 5 years ago and I'm never gonna stop thinking about it.
I'm literally looking at packages right now that I'm like,
No.
take
Fuck.
them.
Oh God, so am I, but they're for Twitch.
It's so real though. So those episodes will be coming. I don't know if we'll have one at the end of this month, but we have this one and our next one coming out that are already done. So thank you for listening to us just blab on about
Yeah.
everything and anything.
Kenzie, tell the
Yes.
people where they can find you be professionally hot.
Yes. To find me being professionally hot, you can find me on onlyfans.com/littlebaby. I also have my Instagram, which is kenziebaby.x, and I have my milkshake, which shows like all my links and stuff. And then I also am going to be finishing out my month on my free cams, which is Lil Baby, LILBABY, and I will be moving
Tip her.
eventually. But yeah, that's my shameless self promo. Ashley T, you give yours, please.
All right. Well, you can find me being professionally hot on onlyfans.com/heyashleyt. I've got a great big project underway that will be launching on October 1st. So definitely subscribe to the OnlyFans to figure out what that one is. It's going to be a biggie. You can find me on Twitter as Hey Ashley T as well. On Instagram as Hey Ashley T.
That's very professionally hot of you to not be able to pronounce anything.
Yes, and if you'd like to watch me be professionally Mormon, otherwise known as safe for work, if you want to join me for some less spicy but equally as ridiculous times, you can find me on everywhere as Ashley T Cozy, because I am a good God-loving individual these days that doesn't get naked on the internet in lots of places.
Soaking on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, no. You can find me at Ashley T Cozy on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah, go watch Ashley play games because she's great, and she's just like, I think you and Ash are probably the only people that I would ever put on in the background to like listen to, you know, and like not have to like just like doing chores and stuff and be able to like just you guys. So please, if you have not joined either one, go watch them.
Yes, please do. I'll be your background noise every day of the week, Kenneth.
Yeah, I appreciate that because I need it.
Good. Well, that's what I'm about to do right now. I have 15 minutes before I need to log on. So
yes, go log on. Thank you for listening.
Right. Thank you for listening.
Podcast. Stay professionally hot, and we'll be back episodes very, very soon.
Perfect.
And we love you guys. Thanks for listening.
You guys.
For following us.
Bye.
Bye.